Hey yo, so people is finally come to an end, right? And I am talking about Joe Abercrombie's The Age of Madness series. All right, so finished The Wisdom of Crowds, book 3. And like the others, it's narrated by Stephen Pacey. And boy, oh shit. There was stuff here that I was not expecting at all. Right? So let's hit you with the blurb, shall we? Chaos, fury, destruction. The great change is upon us. Some say that to change the world, you must first burn it down. Now that belief will be tested in the crucible of revolution. The breakers and burners have seized the levers. Yeah, no, that's a thing, right? Seized the levers of power. The smoke of riots has replaced the smog of industry, and all must submit to the wisdom of crowds. With nothing left to lose, Citizen Brock is determined to become a new hero for the new age, while Citizens Savine must turn her talents from profit to survival before she can claw her way to redemption. Also, we'll find that when the world is turned upside down, no one is lower than a monarch. And in the bloody north, Rika and her fragile protectorate are running out of allies, while Black Calder gathers his forces and plots his vengeance. The banks have fallen, the sun of the Union has been turned down, and in the darkness behind the scenes, the threads of the Weaver's ruthless plan are slowly beginning to draw together. People, yo, man, I love the way Abercrombie spins a motherfucking tale. Oh shit, this book, because I think the way it's all left in book 2, you know what I mean? The way it's all gone down, you're like, oh, damn. Well, they're all fucked, right? So, but what's gonna happen with this revolution, and where's this going, and what, you know what I mean? There's certain expectations. There is certain expectations that we have, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you may think you know where it's going, right? You do not know where it's going, right? There's a few things that went down, and it's like, oh, I think that's gonna, and like the Ricker situation, right? There was a bit where I was like, okay, I feel I know where this is going because I'm just like, I don't know if these people are gonna be doing this way. You know what I mean? And I think the way Abercrombie writes, possibly you see that, right? Now, I'm not saying it was written away that it was so obvious, but I'm just like, I kind of feel this will go like this, right? And that there's an element of that yeah did come to pass, and I was like, okay, I thought it did, but I still loved the way it was all executed, right? The way it all came about. Then there was some other shit, right? There was some other shit. I'm like, huh, okay, I didn't know you were gonna do that, right? So even when you think you know, you're still surprised. And with this whole revolution thing, right? The thing I liked about it, it was a bit like the Powder Mage trilogy, the first one, right? Because yeah, I couldn't get into the second one, but the first one, those books and the collection of short stories, oh, they're so good. they're so good. I do believe it's been turned into a TV series. I might be wrong there, but I do believe that's what I read one time. But anyway, right? The thing I really liked about that was because we saw Revolution, but then we saw the aftermath, right? And how it's all gone crazy. And so if you depose a government, like what goes into that void, and then what would your allies think, and what would your enemies think? And so we saw all of that, right? What about money? What about food? What about housing? What are just all these things, right? New laws, just yeah, just all of this stuff. So the way that it was great, and we see a similar thing here, right? We see them trying to then work out, right? And it's that thing that we see in real life, you know what I mean? Like one party is ousted and the new party comes in and they've made all these promises, and then they never meet those promises, but what usually happens is they turn into the thing that they supposedly were fighting against. You know what I mean? The thing you voted out has come back, and you're like, wait, what just happened? We were getting rid of that, and now we get this, right? What happened to the justice and all of this? But and we've seen it still, right? In this whole woke social justice, where you have these people going, oh, this person, they should be taken down. And then it's just like, they should never work again and they should do that. And you're like, yo. I thought you were saying when people on the other side were saying that same thing, that was bad. But now you're calling for the same shit, right? It's insane. But yeah, Abercrombie manages to spin all of this into the story, but without hitting you over the head with that's why Black Lives Matters. That's why trans life matters. That's why we love each other. That's why, it's not that, right? It's not a political statement couched in a story. No. This is still the greatness that you loved when you read The Blade itself, right? Abercrombie just killing it with the stories. And this is the thing. So this book, it was like, and I think I said it in the first book, right? That it's bringing in the Industrial Revolution, right? But in this world, which is all fascinating. And we do get like that, talk of trains, kind of. They're not called trains, obviously, but I mean, it's like, oh, and we have this steam thing and blah blah blah, right? And so it's all very interesting, and I think it was done better than Sanderson did with the Mistborn. You know what I mean? Because you had that first Mistborn trilogy, and then what was it, the Missing Alloy or something like that, the fourth book, and it was kind of bringing in the industrial, but I just didn't. That didn't work for me. But this, oh shit, this worked. This really did. So we see all of this, and we see the way allegiances will shift, and just all of that. But then it's just, oh, it's those plans within plans, right? Setting things up in a way, you know what I mean, where you're still going to do the grime. Then it's the betrayals, right? These betrayals and all of that, right? The manipulations, which was handled very well, very well. The way people try and pretend they were a thing, but then they're not, right? And then the minute they can, they revert back. But on top of all of that crazy, it's those little bits, those little life truths that are there. They're always there. There's this whole bit where all of this stuff happens, and then the character's railing against it, being like, "I and you did this and you did that." But then you get the person go, "Yeah, yeah, I did." And at no point did you say, "Don't, please don't." Didn't do that. Didn't do that. And then you're like, "Oh shit. Yeah." That's a because you get sucked up and you're being like, "Oh fuck, man. They've had to go through all of this stuff, and that's kind of shitty, right?" And then you realize, and then that gets said, and you're like, "Hold on, yeah, they didn't." You know what I mean? They did not try and turn this bit around, right? And you're just like, "Oh." Right? Because that's the thing, because people can be grimy as fuck, right? You can be all, "Man, I wouldn't have done that," or "That's just unjust and I can't believe." But it's just like, what did you do to stop that? You know what I mean? What did you do to stop that? It's like, you know what I mean? I've said it on Echoes, right? Echoes from the Void with Lewis Hamilton. And listen, and I don't hate Lewis Hamilton, but when Lewis Hamilton is all, you know what I mean, there's a race problem with Formula One, it's just like, yeah, like, obviously it's a white sport, son. You need money to get in. Like, the only reason you got into it is because, that Cat Williams was like, "Oh, I'm gonna sponsor this kid because I see he's got mad talents." Right? That's a thing. You've been in the game for, I don't know, I forget. He's been doing it for like 10, 15 years, something like that, right? And you're saying this now? You're like one of the top paid drivers, if not the top paid driver. So how many kids did you sponsor, right? Because that was done for you. How many did you sponsor? Have you sponsored? Are you like, what are you doing to try and change it, right? Because it's, I mean, everyone knows what it is. So to try and be like, "Oh, where are the other colored faces? What's going?" Be like, "Motherfucker, shut up." And that's the thing with this, right? We see these characters, rail against, but then you're like, "Yeah, and what did you do? What did you do?" So, oh man, it was just great. It's just great. It's just a subtlety that Abercrombie does, man. Yeah. And it ends in a way again where you're like, "Oh shit. Yeah, we're gonna get more. There's still more to come in this universe." You know what I mean? There's just with the events, right? So there's gotta be a reckoning. You know what I mean? Someone ain't gonna be pleased with the way everything went. So there's gonna be that. Also, there was the vision, right? So there's a lot of stuff that has to unfold. And people, I can't friggin' wait. I cannot friggin' wait. So yeah, if you've enjoyed the first two books, you're gonna love this one for sure. You are people, the wisdom of crowds. Woo! Go get you some. And obviously, do the audible because Stephen Pacey kills it with the narration. All right. So, yeah, The Age of Madness was another, another superb outing by that motherfucker Joe Abercrombie.